Harry Styles drops his new album, Justin Timberlake experiences the Streisand effect, and should you tell your partner your friend's secrets? I'm Maggie Zhao.
And I'm Jasmine Wallace, and you're listening to Culture Club, where two editors and writers chat about all things pop culture, current affairs, the internet, and our lives.
Today, we are on the land of the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people of the Kulin Nations.
We would like to pay our respects to elders past and present and extend this to any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander listeners today.
Happy Harry Styles release day, Jazz.
I'm so happy. I was listening to it on the tram. I'm really happy with this album.
We are recording this on the day that this album has dropped. I was looking last night and it was like on the Spotify countdown, like 2 hours to go. And I felt like butterflies. It felt like Christmas or something.
I know. I woke up in the night at like 5 o'clock for some reason. I couldn't get back to sleep. And I was like, do I listen to it now? And I was like, no, I'll be too hyped. I need to like wait. So yeah, was listening this morning. Top 3 songs, go.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you said 3 because I have top 3 songs from Kiss All the Time, Disco Occasionally. And I think we're going to have crossover because this often happens. For new listeners, we do this with big album drops. We did this with Sabrina, with like Olivia, Taylor. So my top 3, Taste Back, Coming Up Roses, Carla's song.
Oh,
you?
2 for 3. Top song, American Girls.
Oh, yeah, that is very good.
When I heard it this morning, I literally, I put it on YouTube and I was like doing some chores and I stopped in the middle of the room and I was like, this is so good. It's so catchy. I think I listened to it like 5 times today alone. So American Girls, Coming Up Roses, and Taste Back.
Wow, we really had it similar. Do you think I was thinking when I was listening to American Girls, is there a reality where it's like a cousin song to London Boy?
Ooh.
Taylor Swift's London Boy, Harry Styles, American Girls.
I like that take.
Yeah.
People as well online have been saying that it's very One Direction and like his voice sounds like One Direction Harry Styles, which is really nostalgic.
That's very nostalgic. The reviews have already started rolling in and of course a lot of media publications would get early release and listens. The BBC called it the funkiest existential crisis in pop.
The Guardian said Harry Styles, Kiss All the Time, Disco Occasionally, Nice All the Time, Good Occasionally.
Interesting. And Rolling Stone said Harry Styles gets delightfully weird. I already really like this album. I've listened to it twice so far and I know it's going to continue to grow. So I'm really happy with it.
Me too. I will say though that from the way people were saying it's a dance album, I thought all of it was going to sound like Ready, Steady, Go. Like that electronic kind of like dancey LCD sound system sound. So I'm glad that there are parts that are still very Harry. Like it feels like an amalgamation of all his albums, which makes sense because it is like him coming to his own in his 30s after a break. Last night I was cooking dinner. I actually made dinner.
That's really rare for Jazz, for people listening and watching this on YouTube. If you are, hey, shout out. Just a reminder, you can watch this on YouTube.
My husband normally cooks all meals and he's working away at the moment. So I was cooking dinner, had a glass of wine, pasta. I made it special though.
Oh, that's nice. Sorry. You're so judgy of me.
And I put on the Zane Lowe interview.
Yeah. How was that? I've been seeing it float around social media because he talks about Liam Payne's death in it.
Yes. It was really a really nice interview, really emotional in parts, obviously, especially the Liam part. Yeah, it was really touching. It actually made me cry a little. And I say that all the time. Like it's not that hard to make me cry. But it was really touching and special. And Zane Lowe is just, I think he's one of the best interviewers that we have in media at the moment. Aside from Liam, it touches on Harry clubbing in Berlin. He also addresses the hot take that came out a few weeks ago that we didn't talk about at the time.
Well, I didn't see this. So can you explain?
So in an interview when Harry started doing all the press for this album, one of the first ones was for the Sunday Times, which is a British newspaper. And in it, he talks about living in Italy and living in Rome. And he said, Italy became so important to me because I was used to everything moving so quickly and being on the go. But then I remember going to a cafe and sitting and having a coffee and thinking, I don't remember the last time I sat down and had a coffee, if I've ever sat down and just had a coffee. Of course, social media then took issue with this statement. So in a viral tweet, which has been liked more than 137,000 times, someone wrote, the privilege to call Italian life slow is so ironic. You're privileged to sit down and sip your coffee in comfort somewhere in Italy because you are a wealthy man, not because you're in Italy, dumbass.
So savage.
So sad.
And I do not agree with this person. Obviously, there is privilege and like wealth that comes with being able to sit and have a coffee. But excuse me, let's be very black and white about it. We're talking about 12 minutes of your time, paying like $5 for a coffee. Like, it's not like the upper echelon of society can afford to do it. I think a lot of us go through life like not really being conscious and like being present in the moment of like drinking a coffee. So people need to chill out.
It's very like, it's a reminder as well that most, or not most, but a lot of people on the internet are teenagers. I've been thinking about that a lot recently when I see comments, because you think everyone's like in their 20s, 30s, and then like some of these people are 14. Like their view of the world is very different to ours. So he actually referenced it in the interview with Zane Lowe. He's talking about Rome and he says something like, obviously I was also doing other things. I wasn't just having a coffee. And some fans have also been saying like, oh my gosh, so he is online, or like he does listen to the discourse. So he would have listened to the discourse about the Harry Styles tickets as well. Like the price of them.
No. Well, of course. He could not have escaped that. Like his team would have passed that on because that was so negative, and we don't see that much negativity pinned on Harry.
I feel like it's been more and more lately. But yes, I recommend this interview with Zane Lowe. It's about an hour, but it's Harry is also so media trained as well. Like he always is like revealing a lot without like getting really personal. I think it's such a skill because there are so many moments where he could like kind of reveal more than he wants to. That was great. I also watched Royal Court with Brittany Broski and Harry Styles.
Seeing those press photos of like Harry and his little elf ears and them like set up. Oh, that was so fun. I haven't watched it yet. So you would recommend?
I would also recommend that. Had me blushing and kicking my feet. It was really cute and also was kind of giving like old One Direction Harry Styles again with like his comedy and just being like a cheeky British lad. So very different styles and tones of interview.
Were you the one that sent me like the stills of Harry in the Brittany Broski interview, and there was like side by side with him on his X Factor days and he's like pulling the same faces? That was very emotional.
My TikTok feed has been, serving me those types of videos. And like last week I was in my Ludo phase and I was like, I can't actually take this. It was like flipping between like baby or fetus Harry, as they say, and like current Harry, and with like emotional tracks over the top. And I was like, guys, I literally can't do this. As someone who's like grown up, you know, was there for the X Factor days. So I feel like we're being fed at the moment. Also the Runner's World magazine spread. Do you remember when with Harry's house, he had the magazine spread in essentially the British version of Better Homes and Gardens magazine, the Home and Gardening. And this album, he's gone with Runner's World, which I think is a really cool way to like cement yourself in, I don't know, a new era with like a niche publication and supporting print.
Yeah. Okay. I love that take. I didn't even realize it was like a proper running magazine. Yeah. You sent this tweet that I think sums up this conversation as well. First in my bloodline to be there for Harry Styles' entire career. I love a funny pop culture moment, and boy did this week deliver. So a corporate CEO has accidentally gone viral for being cringe and awkward, and I'm so happy we're talking about it. I am talking about McDonald's CEO, Chris Kempczinski, and it is for promo for the new Big Arch Burger. So did you see this floating around?
I saw a bit of the discourse and then I hadn't seen the video yet. But honestly, when I finally did watch the video,
what?
I was like, that's a normal bite.
Stop it, Jazz. Okay, well, we're going to talk about
We'll talk about it.
You're wrong.
No, we'll talk about it because I know what everyone's saying, but I think I was expecting so much more because of the hype and like the discourse. Very
fair, because the way I stumbled upon this was like just a random TikToker comedian talking about it, and he was like, I didn't think it was quote unquote viral yet. So if you haven't seen this video, the CEO is in this like random office building that kind of looks like a sad hotel room, and he's at like the table. He's got his button-up shirt and a V-neck sweater. He looks like an accountant. He looks like he doesn't see the sun much. You know,
he's a CEO.
He is a CEO, which is true. Yes, he is the corporate, but he is like the opposite to Ronald McDonald, that clown, right? Anyway, and the way he talks about this product is so funny. I'm just going to read out some of the quotes. He says, "This is something that we have tested already in Portugal, Germany, Canada. I love this product. It is so good." And then this one's so funny because, as Jazz alluded to, he just takes a bite and he says, I'm going to do a tasting right now, but I'm going to eat this for my lunch, just so you know. And then he's holding this burger, which is like a normal size burger. It's like maybe 5 centimeters tall max. He's like, I don't even know how to attack it. There's so much to it.
Why do they do this? That's what I want to know.
Well, it's totally that trend of like brands putting their like employees and their bosses in front of the camera being like, let's make this brand more personable. But this is backfired so much.
No one is safe from the contentification of the employee.
Not even McDonald's bloody CEO. So you thought it was a normal size bite, girl?
I was like, I don't know. I just like all the hype and stuff like, oh my God, he called it a product. And then he took this like tiny, tiny bite. I was literally expecting him to be like a mouse. And then it was just like, no, it wasn't a massive bite. But we could talk about that back and forth all day, but we'll keep going. It's kind of created a little bit of discourse this week on the internet. Burger King, obviously McDonald's biggest rival, has had a bit of a clapback as well, posting a video featuring their president, lol, Tom Curtis, in the kitchen, and he takes a massive bite at the end.
And it was a great video. It was like shot quite cinematically, like moving camera. It was shot in like the kitchen making the burger. I felt very personable and real. Obviously, I'm not trying to like praise this like massive corporation, but also like boycott McDonald's. I haven't gone there for years. And I kind of love that like little shady nod. And I would like to also say, back to his bite, this is the last thing I'll say about this bloody CEO's bite, because what happens is he takes this tiny bite and then they kind of have a slight cut in the video and you don't see him swallow. So I don't think he freaking ate it. That's my conspiracy.
That's what people are saying as well about the fact that they call it a product. It's like, I don't think in America they're even allowed to like legally call it food or something.
Really? Interesting.
I found a piece on this for The Atlantic by Ellen Cushing, and it's titled "The McDonald's CEO's Big Burger Eating Mistake." And we love stuff like this because on the surface you can be like, oh my God, why are they talking about like this boring CEO at McDonald's? But I think it says a lot about the culture where we are at the moment when it comes to content. So Ellen writes, the Big Arch video was discomforting because it broke the rules of the internet-based marketing economy that Kemzinski belongs to, whether he wants to or not. The incident is an object lesson in what happens when the logic of food influencerdom collides with the reality of running a giant business.
And in this piece, she goes on to further look at how viral taste testing content is like at its peak at the moment. And we see a lot of people, especially influencers, like build careers off this. And you would have seen it, right? People actually make fun of this a lot. Like influencers like, the go-to place you must try. Like, this is so yum. Like people
run, don't walk.
Yeah. Like we see the same cliches over and over again. It is quite hyperbolic. And I think maybe you're right. Like it could have been a normal-ish bite that the CEO made, but we're so used to this like exaggerated experience of eating food online that anything but that feels like less.
Yes, that's what Ellen writes in the piece. She says, Kemzinski's sin was this. He tried to act like an influencer, but he isn't very good at it. If you saw him eat a burger this way in a restaurant, you wouldn't bat an eye because he ate it like a normal person. Of course, it made for bad content. And I think this is a result of like the contentification of every single thing, like every aspect of our lives. Everything is like a production. Everything is dramatized. Everything is exaggerated. So when you see, I'm not talking about like the awkward, like, I'm going to eat this for lunch, like that whole thing and like the calling it a product, that's separate. But like the bite that everyone's fixating on, I think that's what happens when like we're so used to extra and drama and it's just a normal thing. Justin Timberlake is back in court, and this time it's about body camera footage from his 2024 drunk driving arrest that he doesn't want anyone to see, even though we all saw it at the time.
We all heard about it. And to be honest, my imagination made it so real in my mind. I was like, oh, I didn't even see the video of it.
Really? Oh, wait, I swear we saw the video.
No. Oh. Check. This is why he's trying to hide this footage. So now, in court documents filed in Suffolk County Supreme Court, his legal team is arguing that releasing the video would be, quote, an unwarranted invasion of personal privacy. And they also said that making it public would cause, quote, severe and irreparable harm to his professional and personal reputation, and that it will expose him to, quote, public ridicule and harassment. And apparently it serves no legitimate public interest.
I agree with that. Like, no public interest. Like, why? We don't need to see it. And you know that we would meme it. and talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah, but it's also like apparently it would cause severe and irreparable harm to his like reputation. Hasn't it already?
It already has, because this arrest is where the infamous meme, "This is going to ruin the tour." What tour? The world tour came from, because he was, accused of driving through a stop sign, not staying in his lane. And that was the conversation between like the police officer and Justin Timberlake. That has kind of been like one of many of his downfalls. We also spoke about Justin Timberlake regarding the Britney Spears memoir. Also just a few of his performances lately have been a bit questionable. He's not having a good run of it.
He's having a terrible run of it. And I will actually also say over the weekend, for the first time, I watched The Social Network.
First time?
It's wild.
Oh my
I know it took me
gosh.
so long. But he's in it and he's like so good in it because he's so unlikable. And I think like since then, that was, 2010 or something like that, he's just continued to fall from grace. And I don't want anything to do with him. I don't even like listening to his like old music. I'm like, stop. This man's so embarrassing.
So by Justin filing the court order, has this drawn more attention to it?
Yeah, because I was like, oh, this initial incident happened in June 2024 and it's like a funny old memory meme. Like it's kind of past. And I was like, oh, why are you rehashing?
So this is actually called the Streisand effect. Have you heard about this?
No, I've never heard about this. Like Barbara Streisand, I obviously presume.
So it's a situation where a person or an organization attempts to like suppress something. So suppress like a body cam video or like allegations of something because they're worried that like the attention from that information would be like harmful. The term was coined in 2005 by Mike Masnick, who is the founder of the website Tech Dirt, and it came from Barbara Streisand suing the photographer Kenneth Adelman in 2003 for $50 million because Adelman had taken thousands of photos for an online database about the California coast's erosion. So it was for like a project. It was for scientists and researchers. Yeah. Barbara Streisand tried to sue him for like a breach of privacy because one of the photos happened to show her mansion in Malibu.
Whoa. And she actually lost that lawsuit and also had to pay the photographer's legal fee. So that's a big failure. Sorry.
She'd been stalked before, so it wasn't like totally unreasonable, like coming from nowhere, but it became a thing. So now it's the Streisand effect where like maybe you're better off leaving things alone. There's also a local example that happened recently here in Australia with the band Royal Otis. A Reddit thread has alleged that Royal Maddle, whose real name is Leroy Bressington, had a sexual relationship with a music student who was a minor. So recently, Royal asked to unmask the data of the Reddit users. He intended to find out the names, the email addresses, and the phone numbers of those Reddit users. And if they were based in Australia, he was going to pursue legal action. They were prepared to initiate action. But him getting the data from Reddit was denied by a US judge. And of course, that then made headlines, which drew more people's attention to it, being like, wait, what? What is he trying to suppress?
Exactly. Oh, I saw this all over social media. And it's like, one, you've allegedly done a really bad thing of being in a sexual relationship with a minor who was your student. And then two, so bad, you're trying to silence people and like sue them for speaking out or like just talking about it. So yeah, great example. I never knew about the Streisand effect and now I do. So thank you.
Yes, now you'll probably see it everywhere. Like you'll notice it all the time.
Yeah. In this week's segment of Culture Shock, we're talking about the dozens of Ed Sheeran AI clones that apparently popped up all over Melbourne as he is touring. I can't believe, guys, I fell for this.
Yikes. But it was really believable.
It was. What was happening was a number of local businesses here in Melbourne, a lot of like fitness, Pilates places, a lot of local food businesses were posting on their Instagram like little photos of their staff with like Ed Sheeran who like popped into their store. One of them was for like a pasta place that I know, and I posted to my close friend story being like, oh my God. I had it up not that long. But this is the thing. It was found out that so many of them, most of them were AI generated.
Super disappointing. And I find this whole thing so gauche. I think it's like so tacky to do this. We are in a literal media literary crisis with AI only getting more advanced. We're already trying to find out what is real, what's not. People are being duped all the time, multiple times a day while they're scrolling. Understand when you're just scrolling as well, like you're not looking like for fingers or like, is his arm a bit weird or like is his haircut from 10 years ago? You're just like scrolling like, and you trust people. Like that's the thing with that restaurant. It's like a local restaurant you frequent as a customer. You want to like have the best intentions of people.
Yes.
You want to like support them. And like for a superstar like Ed Sheeran to go into the restaurant, that's huge. And like of course, people were supportive. So many people in the comments for various different businesses, definitely the Pilates one. So another one for a spa. At least the spa had like AI info in the little bio thing. But I don't know if that's after they were getting started to get called out. But I just think it's like so tacky. I understand times are tough for small businesses, especially. We're in an attention economy. Also the flip side of people being like, it's just a bit of fun. Like in the comments, people are like, wait, is this AI? They're like, oh, we couldn't help ourselves. It's just a little bit of fun. Like, don't worry, guys. You are actively contributing to people distrusting media and like news.
And your own brand. Like if we're talking about like a for-profit business, that's what they would care about. It's in such bad faith to exploit a celebrity's image, likeness, and surely this is illegal. Like this is what I'm like, this just feels so wrong. You're lying. You're just simply lying. And it's not like a funny thing either. You're trying to like associate a major celebrity with your brand for personal gain. Like it's not like why, who does this benefit apart from yourself?
Totally. And it creates a lot of distrust as well, because I saw Ed Sheeran on the Big Umbrellas Instagram page and Facebook page. And when I first saw it, I was like, this is fake. But that was actually real.
I agree. So for people who don't know, because I hadn't heard about this organization as well, they posted this carousel post. And I'm like, why does Ed look AI in it? Because these are real photos. And they actually launched Eat ATM, an Australian-first social enterprise designed to transform how food relief is delivered to people experiencing hardship. And Ed attended the like kitchens, helped cook, was like volunteering with them, like incredible work. And I had to second freaking guess it because I was like, is this AI? Is this real or not? And it is real. And that's the thing. While he was in Melbourne, he did so much good stuff for our community. He actually took the train from Sydney to Melbourne instead of taking the flight, which is wild because like even like the laymen, like you know, the general population around us don't do that. So he has done great stuff, and now it like kind of clouds that in a blanket of uncertainty or like potential misinformation.
And just sets a precedent as well.
Yeah.
Like so now every time there's a major celebrity like Taylor Swift comes back, for example, people posting, you know, oh, Taylor Swift came into the store today. No one's going to believe anything. It's like the boy who cried wolf, right? Literally. If everyone does that, then like no one's going to believe you if it actually happened. But also, I just don't trust your business anymore.
Yeah, the boy who cried Ed.
I remember just before I got married in November last year, I was really overwhelmed, obviously, and kind of running around, wrapping up work, etc. And I was in Melbourne Central about to go to a movie, and I went and bought my first 2 Sunny Angels in like a year. And it felt like so guilty pleasure vibe of like buying a plastic toy. But the dopamine rush that I got from opening the plastic and like finding out which one I had, I kept it in my handbag, kept it in my pocket for a few weeks before the wedding as like a little comfort thing. That's the last time I bought a blind box. Have you partaken recently?
No, I barely do. Actually, sorry, lie. I just realized I had flashbacks in my head when I was in Japan. I got a couple because why not in the home, the birthplace, not the birthplace perhaps, but you know, a central point. Wow, I'm like, am I going to get sued by blind boxes right now? Why am I being so nervous? No, I bought a few in Japan and that was really fun. But before that, like I really enjoy Sunny Angels, but I'd bought like 2 in my lifetime and I had like a collection of, I have a collection of like 6. Like,
yeah, same.
It was never something that I wanted to have a big collection of. Can I just say something about blind boxes? And for those who don't know about that term, I feel like it's just entered our vernacular recently, but it is these like sealed products that are part of a collection. It's usually like a doll, a plush toy, a little figurine. And like the main thing is you don't know which you'll get. There's like on the side of the packet, the different versions you'll get, right? That you could potentially get. That's like my least favorite part of it. I like hate it when people are like, which one do you think you get? Or like, which one do you want to get? Because then it makes me feel like so bad if I don't get that one. I just want to be happy with whatever I get. Does that make sense?
So what joy do you get out of them then?
I get joy from the actual goddamn product after it's like opened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the proliferation of blind boxes, some people are asking if they should be regulated like gambling.
This is actually happening in Singapore. And if you know Singapore, it's like the place with the most laws like ever. So you can't even like chew gum in public and you can't spit, right? But in Singapore at the moment, lawmakers and consumer advocates are pushing to regulate blind boxes due to like how they have a gambling risk associated to them. And especially because blind boxes are typically targeted at children. But it's also just like not in Asia. It's a big problem here. So I saw this stat, which is like so wild to me. So there's a report from the Australia Institute that says that 30% of 12 to 17-year-olds have gambled at least once per year. One in three children have gambled.
It makes sense because Australia is like the biggest gambling country in the
right.
freaking world.
We're the biggest losers. Like we're really bad at gambling.
But we love it. It's like in our
capita.
DNA.
Yeah. Is it in our DNA? Anyway.
I think it's in the Australiana DNA.
Wow.
Like the way that gambling is regulated and pokies in every pub and sport gambling is like such a huge cultural thing in Australia. So that doesn't surprise me about the 1 in 3. But if we put blind boxes in with that, which I feel like I could see the not to get political, but I feel like I could see the Australian government being like, wait, that is gambling. We can put tax on that.
Yeah.
And like taxing the children.
The children yearn to be taxed. No, the Australian government loves taxing things. I saw really interesting discourse on ABC's Instagram post about this when they reported about it. And people actually drew interesting conclusions around gender because blind boxes are typically marketed towards girls and women. And people were like, hey, how about like collectible like car toys or like Pokemon cards and like footy cards. And there's a lot of similar products that we see that are marketed towards boys and men. And this conversation isn't being had there.
It's like the pink tax.
Yeah. Boo.
Boo, which is where pink, we're like, wait, we should explain that. Where like products marketed towards women like razors, pink razors, or it's usually beauty products because of beauty standards. They are more expensive.
Yeah. And in Singapore, as we said, like the regulations are still being drafted up. But some of the things that they're suggesting is mandatory and standardized disclosure of odds and probability ranges like on the packaging, which I think is pretty good. Thoughts? Does that ruin the fun for you?
That definitely ruins the fun.
Really? Because you were like, oh, it's a 20% I might get that. That's still good. Like that's still interesting.
Yeah. But it does feel like, I don't know. It takes something away from our thing. I like being fully surprised.
Okay. See, I don't. I think I'd even prefer to like, let's say with Sunny Angels as an example, like go in and pick the one I want and like buy that one.
Oh.
I don't want the surprise.
No, I like it.
Freaks me out. I actually think this is a good move that we're talking about regulations around this because especially in Asia, I've been to quite a few like kids arcades, which are literally like kids gambling. It's like a kid casino.
Really?
This was in Japan. This was in China. A few places I've been, and I'm sure it's also in Australia as well. And it's scary, Jazz. Like in Japan, I went to a 24-hour one, and people like just in front of slots, like pokey style or money. Like people aren't really playing the games; they're doing it to like get like token like ticket things, and it was like it's fully just gambling, and it was terrifying seeing children on that. Yeah.
I don't think we have anything like that in Australia.
Some of
we've got arcade games.
Arcade games. Do you know how like the ones that are like the gambling type? But in other places it was like fully like pokey slots. I was like, get me out of here. I also wonder if the blind box bubble will burst because a lot of people partake in this to then resell like high like rare ones or ones that you can go for a lot of money. And we've seen this throughout the decades. You look at the Beanie Babies, Beanie Kids in the 90s, and something similar was going on too. So perhaps this is just a craze and it will die down.
Is it okay to tell your partner your friend's secrets? This conundrum has re-entered the discourse again thanks to a British Vogue article published last month by Hannah Ewens for British Vogue.
Yeah, the piece was called Please Stop Telling Your Partner My Secrets. We'll read out some of it. This is how Hannah opens the piece. I have a friend, let's call her Belle, whose former partner would refer casually to problems I hadn't told him. as if he and my friend were interchangeable, one person with two names. Each time, it was disorientating to learn I had been discussed without my consent. I never told them that this blurring of boundaries made me uncomfortable. I just thought, well, they're in a long-term relationship. That's just how things are done in relationships. But also, why did this random man called Matt know anything about my inner life at all?
Anna continues, when I spoke to another friend on the topic, she told me she was routinely indiscreet, but she hadn't given it much thought. It's probably a byproduct of merging too much with my partner, she said. He can become a kind of emotional support blanket for processing all of my important conversations with friends. It feels nice to outsource that. What strikes me is how easily this arrangement has been adopted, as though intimacy with one person requires the sacrifice of another's privacy.
I'm glad we're talking about this. This is like a one I want to like chew and like talk about because we haven't yet. And of course, we are two people in long-term relationships, two people who also value friendships. So I actually have no idea what you feel and how you feel about this, Jess.
Me too.
Ooh.
Before we talk about our personal things, I found it interesting the kind of like therapy speak and corporate like marketing speak that has just become so normalized in our vocabulary. So it feels nice to outsource that emotional support blanket for processing. It's nice to outsource the emotional processing. Like, why is everything so like HR speak or like everything's like a chore. Everything is work. And I know that in the Alyssa Liu episode, I was saying like, it's great. Like work is like a part of life and like it's friction is good for struggle, etc. But this also feels different. Like I want to outsource my emotional output. Like how do you feel about those?
Oh, you're
terms?
right. No, that word is very like you're a product on like a conveyor belt and like you're trying to optimize yourself or whatever. So that was strange. But I want to kind of get to like how we personally navigate our friendships versus our romantic relationships, you with your husband. Oh my God, hubby. I'll take any chance to say the word hubby. I'm obsessed. It's so funny. So I have been with my partner for like 11 years this year, right? So obviously like we're super close. I tell him a lot. I tell him like a lot. And I would say in the past, I would probably tell him like everything that my friends would say. Feels bad admitting that. But then a few years ago, I don't know, I can't for the life of me remember if this was like a book I read, an article, like a podcast. There was a conversation around this and that completely changed my mind, which was essentially saying that when your friend trusts you with a secret, like this stays between me and you, like why could that not include your partner? And I think for me, it's really changed the way I like honor my friendships. And I'd like to also say, of course, like I'm still like talking to my partner about like what's happening in my friends' lives and things that are like more gossipy or surface level. But if a friend tells me like seriously, this stays between us or this is vault or like, hey, like I have friends who are like, can you not tell your partner? Because they just assume that a lot of this gets passed around. But I make it like a big stance for myself, like, no, this stays between us. I really want to show you how much you mean to me and not just like treat you as conversation topic.
Yes, I'm definitely in the same boat as you. And even just like serious things that my friends are going through that they divulge to me, I often won't tell my partner because I think, well, you're processing this and like I always, in the same way that I don't tell my friends everything about my partner,
Completely.
like if it's going to influence opinions, if it's just something like surface level, like they're having a bad month and like they want to vent or they're having troubles with their partner, I don't then run off to Laurie being like, oh my God, like, or even like not in a gossipy way in like I want to process this with you because it's like I know that I was being the soundboard for my friend. Yeah. That makes sense? Mm-hmm. So I definitely am more cautious of like what I'm talking to Laurie about.
Yeah. And to your point about being that like emotional soundboard for your friend who's going through something, like that's actually what being a friend is, right? And sometimes as part of your friendship, that's part of your, I want to say duties, right? We're getting into like corporate HR speak again. But yeah, there might be some discomfort that you're like, far out, my friend's going through this really hard time. We've just spoken about it. I'm going to like process it by myself, or like you don't automatically have to like tell your partner to like offload that. I feel like, again, maybe we should invite some friction into our lives in terms of it's hard sometimes, and you go, like your friends go through things, and then you, by extension, maybe process it with them.
And I think I'm also really conscious of like having a rich inner world and a rich life that isn't centered around my partner.
Yeah.
So sometimes like even my inner thoughts, like if it's important enough, I will bring it up. But sometimes like you just need to process things internally before going to your partner, and like everything is like intertwined. Going back to the piece though, in the full article, the author actually references times where like the boyfriend or the partner like brings it up to the friend. So like, oh, how's like, I don't know, how's your ex going or whatever. That is crazy to me, because if your partner divulges something like privately, like you're having a private conversation, but then you like reference it when that person like maybe doesn't know that you know, that's crazy to me. Like that's another boundary that has been crossed.
Yes, definitely. And like I just realized one of the reasons why I do feel more comfortable with telling Tom stuff about things is like he is a vault in a way, but it's also like he it's not like he doesn't care, but it'll be like that would never leave his lips, because it's just like why? Does that make sense? Sorry, Tom.
On the Instagram tile of this article, the creator Chrissy Ford, who I love her content, follow her. She used to work in magazines, now she's more in content. She wrote, I do wonder how much one knows / likes their friend's partner is a factor in this. I love my best friend's husband. He's one of the girls, so I don't care if he knows my business. That is actually how I feel about Tom.
Oh, love it.
And also Charli, like if I'm talking to Lizzie about something, I will literally be like, did you tell Charli? Like, what does he think?
Oh,
like I want to
sweet.
hear a man's opinion as well sometimes. And like it's easy when you're all couple friends.
Love it. And Lizzie is our friend from book club and previous as well. And if you're watching the video, she actually knitted the scarf that Jazz is wearing.
It's actually like a little hood thing.
Like a snood?
Like a snood, yeah.
So cute. I think I think this was a really easy segment for us to unpack because we share a lot of the same values, but it has been eye-opening reading the comments on the Instagram post, because people are like, me and my husband have no secrets between us. Like anything you say, like he hears too, and like all this stuff, right? So this was actually pretty easy for us to unpack. I also liked what Hannah wrote in this piece. She says, when romantic relationships are positioned as a primary or only space of intimacy, we insulate emotional loyalty within that unit at the expense of friendships. This isolates single people who are left with no true confidant and potentially traps people in relationships because they're overly dependent on this closed system.
I really like that as a society, as a culture, we're talking more about like the intimacies and like the delicacies around friendship versus relationship. I think it's a result of decentering men, like for women. We obviously saw again the British Vogue discourse about, is it embarrassing to have a boyfriend? I think it's all intertwined at the moment when female friendships are becoming like culturally seen as like as valuable or even more valuable than romantic heterosexual relationships. Now it's time for Bookmark, where we discuss something we've loved watching, reading, or listening to this week. Maggie, you are up first. What are you sharing with us?
I have a podcast episode for us, and that is from the podcast From the Diving Board, friend of the pod, Charli. She's actually also with the same podcast management we are with, One Day Dream Network, shout out. And it's her episode called It's Not You, It's Minimalism. And I loved this video essay. It is a video essay because she does post her video like podcasts on YouTube and Spotify. And this was just so interesting to me. I feel like I learned so much. It's about the rise of minimalism, or the return of minimalism, and why it might have fascist roots. There's like she covered so much. So it was kind of sparked from Pantone picking the color of the year as Cloud Dancer, which is white. She also talks about how more people than ever are now buying grey cars, and how, you know, we're seeing neutrals and quiet luxury and all these like basics like really come into fashion as well. One thing I really found interesting was a guy who invented minimalism was a pedophile.
What?
Yeah.
What do you mean who invented minimalism?
Like he I don't know, he coined the movement or whatever. You can listen to the episode. I forgot the details. But the roots of it is also about stripping away culture.
Yeah.
And especially when we look at how like the West in comparison sees and uses and analyzes color, or like what color represents in Western societies versus Eastern. It's very interesting. And she kind of looks at architecture as well. And there's a lot to it. And it really tickled my brain, especially as someone who studied graphic design. And I just love it. And of course, everything is political.
Love.
It's very us. It's now time for your recommendation, Jazz. What do you have?
Last week, you and I went to the premiere of The Moment, which of course is Charli XCX's brand new mockumentary.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm recommending it. I enjoyed it.
You gave it 3 stars.
That's still like I'm still like enjoyed watching it.
Definitely. I gave it 3.5, by the way.
Ooh.
But tell us what it was about.
I think I would round it up to 4 now.
Okay, cool.
Upon like after a week of sitting with it a bit. So the mockumentary is fictionalized. It follows Charli XCX in September 2024 post Brat Summer, which obviously happened in real life, but in the movie, her team are trying to keep Brat Summer going for as long as possible. And this is through brand deals and a worldwide like stadium tour with Amazon Music. So it follows Charli trying to like cling on to this fame and trying to like not spiral, trying to keep everyone happy. There's a great cameo from Alexander Skarsgård as this like eccentric creative director of the world tour.
He is honestly so excruciating to watch, and it's like he's just incredible, especially because I just watched him in Pillion, such a different character as well. Oh my God.
It was really fun seeing at the movies too, with obviously like mega fans at the premiere, because everyone was like laughing together and being like, oh my God, no, it's so cringe.
Mm-hmm.
It was quite stressful at times. Like it definitely is like ramping up. Like you can feel it's almost like a panic attack, but don't be turned off by that. Like sometimes when movies are described as like panicky or stressful, I get like nervous, but I found it really captivating. There was a moment in like towards the end of the first third where I was like, is this going anywhere? Like it's a bit slow.
Oh, interesting.
Kind of like what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But it brought it back again and I was like, yeah, this was great.
Yeah.
It was definitely a dig at the Eras tour, I thought. Especially at the end.
I feel like I didn't find it like that specific. I think like a lot of just like pop, like so many names like came to my head when I was watching, but probably.
So it's actually directed and co-written by Aiden Zamiri, and one of Zamiri's first jobs was to document Victoria Beckham's travels with her family across Europe and the Middle East. He's also known for directing Charli's music videos, so 360 and Guess, which were massive music videos last year, and also Birds of a Feather by Billie Eilish. He's also directed and photographed for like Nike, Google. He's done magazine spreads with Timothée Chalamet. So very much like a cultural person at the moment. And it was co-written with Aiden along with Birdie Brands. And Birdie is a journalist. She's worked for like Vice, GQ, The Times, so British journalist. So I thought that was really cool as well. These kind of millennial Gen Zs creating something like this. It was very much, it's definitely going to be like a moment in time. It's like a time capsule.
It's literally called The Moment, hey?
Yes, it's definitely going to be like a time capsule.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. I thought it was a funny look at like the fame and, I'm trying to do it without spoilers. But there was, it takes a turn. Also, we have to talk about Kylie Jenner. Kylie Jenner has a cameo of herself at a spa in Ibiza. And I thought she was actually great.
She's getting her roses on Twitter. I've been seeing so much praise aimed at her. And people are like, Timothy didn't get the Oscar, but you might.
Yeah, for your little cameo.
She did so well. And people like get her on the White Lotus, which would be amazing. Even for like a little cameo, I would love that.
Yeah, she was actually surprisingly good and really funny.
Really funny.
There's also a part where, because obviously there's cameras following Charli around the whole time. We know it's like a mockumentary. The people in her circle don't ever look at the camera, but Kylie like looks up at the camera really briefly. But then she's so cool and calm, and people have been saying like that's because she's been followed by cameras her whole life. It's definitely like a commentary on like that scene as well. So if you're listening to this podcast, obviously you love culture, pop culture, getting deep on things. So I recommend The Moment for listeners.
Yeah, it's such a fun one. Would you say like you have to go to see it in the cinemas?
No.
Yeah, I'd like maybe wait. But then it's so of its time. So you probably want to.
It's fun. It was fun. And like the opening track, it's like really hectic and definitely flash warning. don't go if you have anything that is triggered by that because it's full on. So it was kind of fun seeing it like loud in that way, but also I'll watch it again on streaming.
That's all the time that we have today. Thank you so much, listeners, for joining us. If you haven't already, maybe give us a little rate and review on Spotify or Apple. We would really appreciate that. Or again, thank you for watching this on YouTube. If you are, we really appreciate that too.
And we'll talk to you next time. Thanks for listening.
Bye.